Welcome back to the Change Agent Leadership Podcast. Today, we're talking about a topic that affects so many leaders, managers, and professionals, and that's burnout. But specifically, we're going to talk about how to avoid burnout before it derails your energy, your mindset, and your impact in your job and in your life. So, what is burnout and why does it even matter? Well, let's start here. Burnout is real, and it doesn't just happen to weak or unmotivated people. It happens to high performers, people like you, people like me, who care deeply, lead others, and show up every day wanting to make a difference. I know people many times throw out the phrase, I'm burning out or I've burned out. And while that may be true in that moment, burnout is not a 1 day or a 1 week event. It builds up over time, and because of that, it can sneak up on us and catch us off guard. According to the World Health Organization, the definition of burnout for them is a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. And it shows up in three key ways. One, exhaustion. And that can be physical and emotional depletion. Two, cynicism or detachment, feeling mentally distant from people and from work, or ineffectiveness, a reduction in your sense of accomplishment or productivity. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. For me, actually, this is a very personal topic. I suffered from what I'd call from major burnout back in 2015. I knew I was stressed. My work was intense, my living conditions were challenging, and my family was going through significant change. At the time, I was living in the Middle East running a business, and I had just dropped off my oldest daughter back in the United States for college. I was experiencing all three burnout markers: exhaustion, detachment, and a deep sense of ineffectiveness. And my body began to shut down, was the major sign that I knew I had a problem. I started having unexplained physical issues. Doctors thought it could be cancer. So they began scanning everything. And what did they find? Nothing, actually. It was never cancer. It wasn't any of that. It was actually stress. Actually moved beyond burnout. I was in survival mode. And so, as I share this with you today, this is not just a suggestion. It is a personal plea to you, really, to pay attention to the signs and take action before burnout sets in. Recovery time is so much shorter the earlier you catch it. And so, the good news: burnout is preventable. So, today we're going to go over 4 strategies to avoid burnout. And so, let's walk through these 4 practical strategies that I use with coaching clients and I've used with myself to prevent burnout. Because if you've been there, you don't want to go back. And so let's talk about how to avoid this and how to build long-term resilience. And so the first one is diagnose early and often. One of the most powerful tools to avoiding burnout is self-awareness. Use a simple self-check tool like I'm going to give you and do this once a week. I know self-awareness is something thrown out, but it is a real thing. And the best thing for self-awareness is to have a tool that you can use to assess where you are. So just take a piece of paper, put 3 columns on it. And the first title of the first column is area. The second one, you're going to rate each area from 1 to 10. And then the third, you're going to put notes in there, like what's working, what's not working. And so the first area is mental energy. So you want to rate yourself. Where are you right now on your mental energy from a 1 to 10? 10 being you're awesome. This is the best alert you've ever been. Your mental energy is awesome. 1, you can't think straight. You don't even know what mental energy means. So put your rating there. So if you put like a 7, for example, then put notes beside that. So as you put that, why did you put a 7? Like what's working well? You're not a 5 or you're not a 3. So what's working well? Like what positively? And then what's maybe not? Why are you not a 7, 8, or 9? 8, 9, or 10? Why are you not up there? Just like, what do you think is the cause for not having more mental energy? And so do that for each of these. The first one is mental energy. The second one is emotional presence. Again, where are you emotionally in the situation? A lot of people ask me about this. I would say, are you feeling emotionally present, like you're aware of what's going on, or you just feel numb? You actually don't feel anything. So rate yourself on that. The third one is physical well-being. So how's your health? How are you doing? When's the last time you had a physical? It's important. And then also another way to think about this, how's your intimacy level? So rate that. How's that physical well-being from 1 to 10, and then answer the questions. And then the fourth one, sense of purpose. And this is really how do you feel each day when you get out of bed? Are you excited to start the day? Or honestly, are you sad? you woke up and it's a challenge to just get out of bed and get going. So rate yourself on those 1 to 10 and then write your notes in there. And then after you write those, take a moment to reflect on what has been the most emotionally draining part of my week. Overall, write that down. So that's your check-in for the week, and that's what we're going to do every week for a while. And then the action step is at the end of the month, so you're going to do this weekly. At the end of the month, you're going to review your results for each week and then ask, based on those results, ask three key questions. One, what's my energy like right now? Look at the average and then rate yourself. Where are you? Are you all over the scale, or has there been a consistency of one area is a 3 to 5, and right now you're feeling like a 4? Great. Two, am I emotionally present or just going through the motions? So where are you as you do this assessment? Where are you at with your self-awareness? And then number three, what is consistently draining me? So you're just doing a self-awareness test here of yourself, a little bit of a check-in. What's some consistently draining? Keep in mind, you can't work on what you don't name. So as you name it, you're able to work on it. And so that's the first step. The second step is get curious about the root cause. Burnout is rarely about workload. It's often about misalignment with purpose, values, control, or reward. That's usually what it's about, which means burnout isn't just about productivity. It often is a purpose issue. So often burnout stems from misalignment in one or more of these four areas in your view of things. One, your values. So that is what means the most to you. Two, your sense of control, your autonomy. Three, your sense of reward, which is your recognition or your compensation. And then four, your purpose, your why you do your work. And so what you want to do is we want to reflect on those four areas and do a quick values assessment check. And so I'm going to read out 10 values. You can write them down. They'll be on the screen. And then you want to circle the ones that matter the most to you right now. And so these will help you assess where you are and get curious about the root cause. And so the 10 areas are impact. So what are the most values that matter to you? Your value, your impact, connection, growth, balance, purpose, creativity, autonomy, service, excellence, and stability. Again, I'll have those on the screen, but you want to have those 10 and then circle the ones that really value the most to you right now. Like they're really critical. Don't circle them all. Rate them. If you feel they're all important, great, but circle the really top 2 or 3 that are most important. And then reflect. What's one way I can bring more of this value into my life this next week? Okay, so what's one way to bring value into your life this next week in that area? So an action step is to ask these 3 questions. 1, where do I feel out of alignment? 2, what values of mine are being compromised? 3, where do I feel powerless or underappreciated? Answering those questions are key because once you name the root, you can begin designing work and life around what truly fuels you, not just what fills your calendar. So work on that. Burnout doesn't have to be inevitable. With awareness, empathy, and a solid plan, you can protect your energy and lead from a healthier, more sustainable place. Remember, burnout doesn't start overnight. Neither does resilience. This isn't about being perfect. It is about being intentional. You're the kind of leader who pours into others. This is the invitation I'm going to give you to pour back into yourself. Next time, we're going to dig into part 2 of this series, how to recover from burnout. What to do when you're already deep in burnout and need a way back. I believe it will be helpful. I'm excited to share it with you. Until then, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep leading change. I'm Jonathan Hankin, your change agent coach. I'll see you next time.